Okay, so today I'm going to show you guys basically a brief of how to rebuild a Husqvarna chainsaw. This one's blown up, I believe. I'll show you how to check, how to do like troubleshooting, stuff like that. So, or more in depth, this is a Husqvarna 55 Rancher, but this will work for 3 models. It will work for the Husqvarna 55, Husqvarna 55 Rancher, and the Husqvarna 51. So, basically, I already done this, but you're going to want to, there's 4 screws, one here, here, here. There's not one here, 3 screws, one here, here, and here. Pull that off. You got that off of there. Okay, next, you're going to want to pull your spark plug cap off. But first, what you're going to want to do, one troubleshooting tip. Just pull it and see if you feel any resistance or see if it feels differently. If it feels a little differently, then sure. And I do feel a little resistance, so it's maybe not blown up, but I believe it is. So this spark plug has already been loosened, and pull that off. And also this doesn't really relate to it, but sometimes if you're unscrewing the spark plug and it like squeaks like that, it means it could be burnt metal. Now that is very black, which is what a spark plug looks like, so that's not bad. Don't worry about that. But you could go to run to your local Napa or something, pick up one of these, compression tester. Okay, they come 2 sizes, this and this. I don't know what the hell those sizes are. Does it say on here? I don't know, but this fits in here. This should fit right in there. I bought this at Napa. I believe I paid $50 for it, maybe. So if you don't have one of these, that's definitely a must. Or if you know a friend, you don't need this, but it just helps. You just stick your finger over there. If you're rebuilding it for sure, and you for sure know it's blowing up, then you don't need one of these. This is just to test it. I'll screw that right on there. Right. So you just kind of want to keep going. And this is going to be a full video. I'm not gonna do any time lapses or anything. This is like a full in-depth video how to rebuild one of these things. Now on your compression tester, there is going to be basically this button. That's your release, obviously. If you already know how to use one of these, great. But so basically, you're gonna want to pull this basically until the needle stops moving. So I'm gonna pull this on the ground quick, and I'll see you guys back after I'm done pulling it in a second here. And one more thing, when you're pulling it, you're going to want to hold the throttle wide open. So if you guys didn't know that, you're going to want to hold your throttle wide open while you are pulling it for your compression. Here we are, backing off from where we were last. I checked the compression, you just check it. Mine was at about 25, can you see that? Yeah, you can. Mine was about 25, 30. You should be 110 at least or higher, 100 at the very least. I would try to be 110 or higher for a good running engine. 100, you might be losing power. Under that, you just need a rebuild. So mine was about 25, 30, so I need a rebuild. And when you are starting it, I already told you this, I think, but you got to hold the throttle wide open while you are checking compression and pulling this, and then you just, after you check your pressure, you just click the button, release pressure. So now, since I'm running at 25, 30 PSI, we are going to tear into this chainsaw engine and tear it apart. Oh, there we are. So this bottom is going to be a 5/30 seconds, or at least on this particular chainsaw. It might range from different ones. The only difference between the Husqvarna 55 Rancher, the 55, and the 51, they have same engines. They just, shit, that's full of dirt. They just, I'm trying to think. They just have different size blades. Okay, and to take this bar fully off, you are going to need to pull this off and basically pull this cover off, and then you can unbolt your bar. Oh, you're fucking torqued. Ah, there goes first one. Oh, there goes second one. There we go. Pull them off. This one I can undo with my hand. This one needs a little assistance. There that goes. Pull that off. Pull your metal plate off. This should come right off. Here's your chain lock. Right there. I don't know if you see that. Yep, right here. Okay. Can't pull that off of there. So yeah, this is going to be a longer video. It's not going to be like shorter. It's going to be longer, obviously, because, you know, I'm pulling all this shit off of here. Boop. There goes. Alright, it's going to come right off of there. I like to slide my bolts through the holes where they previously were to keep track of my bolts. Whoop. And then I'm just going to put that aside. Just like that. Let's pull off this front cover. The recoil, so to speak. Okay, now that should come right off. Oh, would you look at that beautiful recoil? Anyways, so now we are going to want to start thinking about pulling our head off. This model has the wrenches right down the jug, right in there. Okay, and it is making it very impossible for me to get a wrench down there. So now I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, so I haven't got all the bolts off yet, but I got the right tool. This is what you need. So, I'm just gonna pull all those off. So that's what you're gonna wanna do. Okay. So yeah, let's just pull these bolts off quick and pull the jug off. Okay, I got all the bolts off, right? You can see me, okay. So now, just kind of gotta, okay, so actually, I forgot totally about this. Well, that's great. I forgot that there's such thing as a carburetor. Oh my gosh, no. I knew about it. Kind of was, I don't know what I was thinking, but you're gonna want to take your carburetor off, right? Because you need to get to your frickin', gotta take the jug off, and the jug's connected to your carburetor. Also, your exhaust is, but I'm just gonna pull the exhaust pipe off with the carburetor. Here. Actually, no, I'm not. It's connected to the teeth, and this is your airbox, obviously. Okay, and this should be a 5/30 seconds. Yep. That will come right off of there, just like a glove, even though it's coming off. So it's like a what you want to call it? Ooh. Okay, and these hold in the carburetor. I'm almost positive because that just pulled right off. Okay, now we are going to want to pull one more bolt off, which is right here. Right? That's even holding on more of your airbox. And while I'm here, I'm not going to clean the carburetor in this video, but I'll show you. I'm just going to give it a quick shot of carb cleaner, just kind of brush all that shit out in the chamber. But if you guys request it, I can do a carburetor clean video, and I'll do it probably on my thing that I need to do a carburetor clean on. So there probably will be a video soon, and carburetor cleaning is all the same on all two-strokes, almost. Or I shouldn't say all, but like all small engine two-strokes are basically the same, so I'll probably do it on my weed whacker, but I mean it'll be the same thing. So this piece slides right out of here, just like that. Set that aside. Let's pull this off. I'll go here. Just like them. Get you choked too. You don't want to. So yeah, try not to mess up like a lot of the stuff, because you got to keep track of your shit, obviously. But also, it's not totally a big deal. You know, put parts in different places, but just make sure you know how to put it back together, or you can just watch this video, see how they're assembled. So, just pull that off of there. This is probably going to be a really long video now that I think about it. So now, we got all that off. You're going to spin your chainsaw around, just like them. And I don't know how well you guys can see that, but right here, there is going to be 2 bolts that you are going to want to pull off. I don't want to hit my hand on the chain. Oh, don't want to lose them. Okay, now we're going to pull it back into view because this freaking chainsaw is awkward right now. Okay. Okay, we just got to make sure we don't drop any bolts in the engine because it's going to be a pain in the ass getting them out of there. And it's probably a wise idea to clean your chainsaw before you do this. But Jordan doesn't have wise ideas. Oh, shit. So he didn't think of that. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3. Okay, none of my nuts fell in. So you got your jug off, right? So I'm going to pull my muffler off once. Oh, yeah. Okay, and that jug is junk. Or actually, we don't know if it's junk yet, so. But a full engine rebuild kit with the jug is what I prefer to get and what I recommend, you know, just for obvious reasons. It's what I recommend because it's going to be replacing everything. You're not going to be doing shit half-ass. So, this is what I prefer and recommend. So, I'll show you a picture of this on screen right now. But this is not looking good at all. This is, you can see in this image, there's a bunch of lines right here. It is all scratched up, and does not look good. Because if you actually feel with your finger where all those lines are, you can feel a bunch of bumps. So that means an overheated, ran out of oil chainsaw. That is exactly why it does that. Up here, this piece should kind of slide off, so then you can pull this out of that plastic, because it's like a plastic tube, but this end grommet's rubber. So that rubber grommet should pull off of there, and then that should pull out. Wall's off of there, okay? Said it's off of there about 6 times. I'm just personal preference, I'm gonna slide these bolts right back in where they go, just so I don't forget where they go. Just like that. You can go in here with a needle nose and grab the pin. Kind of want to twist it in if you can. If you pull it in, and it should kind of come out of there either, because you really don't want to drop anything in your engine, dirt, anything, because you don't want to run your engine basically with anything in there except what is supposed to be in there. Okay, so this pin, let's try to focus in on that. Oh, I don't know if we can here. Camera's not cooperating, but you can see my fingers spaced apart. You can see a faint image right there. See that? I don't know. You can see the pin. You get the idea. So then you're going to set that aside. You might need that later depending on which rebuild kit you buy. If you buy the full rebuild kit, that I'll have the link in the description, you will not need that. Another thing to keep in mind, there's an arrow on top of the cylinder for when you get your new rebuild kit. The arrow, it always points towards the exhaust. So where the exhaust is going to come in, your piston actually has to be faced a certain way, and that is a tip for you. This is a single ring piston, so that means it only has one piston ring on it. I'm going to grab my Allen wrench. And push on the wrist pin. The wrist pin is the pin that holds the piston to the connecting rod. This is your piston. Your connecting rod is this thing down here, connecting your piston to the bottom end, and then your wrist pin is the pin inside of the piston. Okay. Okay, so I don't know how much of that video got cut off, but I guess it doesn't really matter because I was pulling the pin out, but it came out, right? Because my father called me, and then it cut off right when I pulled the pin out, so that kind of sucks, but whatever. Maybe it didn't cut out that much, I don't know. Maybe you already saw it, maybe you didn't see it because it got cut out, I don't know. But, so this is your bearing. That comes right out of your shaft. That was in there. Pin's in there. Just like that. And then it spins, and there's dirt in there, so it's not spinning easy right now. But yeah. So you're going to pull all that stuff out, set that aside. So, how the piston's relatively supposed to look, right? It's a little oily right now. How it looks. You can see them lines. It's a little... I'd say that's a little blown up there. Let's see if we can find any cracks. Because if there's any cracks, then that means you really messed it up and you really fucked up in your life. Oh, sorry, profanity was said. Yeah, but that ring's like welded to the piston, so. And it's going to be a nice souvenir for the shelf. So now that you got that out, you're basically ready for your rebuild kit. Just the problem is I don't have my rebuild kit yet. So I'm going to order that online. And let's see here. There will be a part 2 because this video is already super long. So I'm going to make a part 2. So stay tuned for this. And part 2, once I get my rebuild kit in the mail, this is getting thrown back in and you'll be able to know how to rebuild your chainsaw. Even though you probably don't really care because you probably live in an apartment complex. But, you know, everyone needs to know how to rebuild a chainsaw. Or any engine. This is the basics. This is how you learn. This is how I learned, at least. And I'm only like 15 or 14. I'm 14, yeah. I turned 15 in December, but why do you need to know that, you creep? So, yeah, I'm just shoving that in there to keep it clean. Right? Let's get this carburetor. Oh, yeah, let's throw a quick shot of carb cleaner in there while we're waiting here. So I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab my carb cleaner. Okay, I'm back. Here's the carb cleaner I like to use. It is Gum Out Jet Spray Carb / Choke. Okay. And it has a picture of a super expensive carburetor that I'll never be able to afford in my lifetime. Okay. It's just... You want to make sure that shit doesn't get in your eyes, too. I recommend safety glasses, by the way. Just so I'm not encouraging unsafe. Oh, God, I almost said unsafe. Well, you know what. But... And if you are wondering, too, this does work in an engine if you got a little bit of dust in there. I mean, it's not really meant for that, but I mean, it does work if you're trying to clean an engine part or something. You know, if you got dust dirty on something. But that works very good, and then that stuff dries itself right away. It's genius stuff. Highly recommend it to anyone. So I did borrow this Allen wrench from my friend. I have to bring that back, but I'm keeping it till I rebuild the engine. Then I'm bringing it back. So yeah, that's it for this video. Someone's honking at me. I have to go. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for part 2, and we will have everything. We will have all the parts, and we'll start rebuilding this engine. Peace out. I wish I could have like a cool outro.